When you first start studying human design, the first thing that you're going to encounter is usually going to be something called a type and a strategy. And most human design experts will tell you that this is really all you need to know to get started, and that you should just follow your strategy and don't worry your pretty little head about the body graph and all this complicated stuff. You don't need to understand it. That's for human design experts only. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's actually kind of some gatekeeping bullshit, and that you don't need to listen to that. And that type and strategy are late additions to the system that can actually be more harmful, in my opinion, than they are helpful. I even kind of think that the over-reliance on type and strategy are why people are maybe put off by human design, and why a lot of people say that they get cult vibes from it and they just can't handle it at all. And trust me, I was one of those people at first, so I totally get it. But I'm here to tell you that there's actually a lot of really valuable stuff in human design. Completely setting aside your type and strategy is a really good way to start, and I'm here to tell you what to do instead. Before we get started, make sure you've seen my last video, which will be linked up here, where I talk about the 3 things that you need to know about human design. So watch that video and then come back to this one. Okay, so now you understand the basics of human design, that the planets are transiting the sky, they're going through gates. When a planet is in a gate in the sky, it opens that gate in the body graph. And when there's planets and gates on both sides of a channel, that channel is open and energy can flow between those centers. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get personal. So we're going to take that knowledge and we're going to apply it to your body graph. So this video is going to be most helpful if you actually have your chart in front of you. But if you don't, you can pause the video and you can grab your chart, or you can come back to this video later when you have your chart handy. So what we're going to look at first is what we call definition. And so we're going to look at your body graph and we're going to go through all of the 9 centers, and you're going to notice which ones are colored in and which ones are blank. So do you have a defined head center, ajna center, throat, and so on? And I want you to make note of which ones are defined, which ones are undefined. The important thing to understand is what's defined in your chart, what you were given when you were born, is constant, it's reliable, it's something that you always have access to. What is not defined in your chart are things that you don't have easy access to, things that are variable, things that are unreliable. So that might make it seem like definition is good and lack of definition is bad, but that actually couldn't be further from the truth. Although what's undefined is unreliable, it's also where we have the capacity for the greatest learning in this life. So now that you've noticed which of your centers are defined and which ones are undefined, the next thing to notice is to look for islands. So I want you to go through your body graph and see if 2 centers are defined to each other, and then if you have other centers that are defined to each other without any connection between them. Those are what we can call islands. So I want you to count the number of islands that you have in your chart. If you don't have anything defined in your chart, then you have no definition. And in the type system, yes, this is the same thing as what you would call being a reflector. So you are wide open to the experiences of the universe. You have the most capacity, honestly, for learning and for growth in this lifetime. This type of definition is rare. About 1% of the population falls into this category. And if it's you, just know that yes, all the things they say about reflectors actually are true for people with no definition. You're an energetic sponge. You are here to learn all of the lessons in this lifetime, and you have enormous potential for growth and learning. If you only have 1 island in your chart, you're actually in the minority. This is only about 19% of the population. And this is what we call single definition. So people with single definition have easy flow of energy in their chart, and there's no sense of missing something or like having missing pieces. So although you might only have 2 or 3 centers defined, if you have single definition, you're going to have easy flow of energy. If you have multiple islands, whether that's 2, 3, or 4, then you have some form of what we call split definition, either split, triple split, or quadruple split, depending on the number of islands in your chart. So with split definition, there's 3 types. There's split, so that would mean that you have 2 different islands in your chart. Triple split would mean that you have 3 different islands in your chart, and most people fall in one of those 2 categories. Then there's also quadruple split, which are people who have 4 different islands of definition in their chart. This is actually much more rare than even having no definition. So if you have quadruple split, then you're like the super unicorn of human design. But if you have some form of split definition, especially split or triple split, the next thing to note about your chart is finding those gaps. So looking at the gaps, finding what would actually bridge them. So looking through your chart and go to the defined centers and then kind of trace through all the different routes that you can use to get from your first island to your second island. Look for the gate or combination of gates that would bridge those gaps. You also might notice that the distance between the islands can vary. Sometimes it's just a single gate or multiple gates that individually each would bridge the gap. And sometimes it's a whole channel or even a whole center that's missing in between the two islands. It's very, very likely that the most important people in your life probably bridge those gaps for you, and that's why you like to be around them so much. As far as the distance of the split, if the split is just bridged by a single gate, or if there's multiple potential gates that would bridge the split, that person is going to kind of feel like they're missing something, like they're the problem, and if they could just figure it out, then they would feel whole. If the split is wider, where it would take a whole channel to bridge that split, then that person is more likely to feel like the other person is the problem. And if the split bridges an entire center, then that person is going to kind of feel like it's actually the world that's got something wrong with it. But as Ra Uru likes to remind us, there is no blame, there is no fault, it's all just design. And these are the lessons that we came here to learn. Okay, now the final thing that I'd like you to notice about your chart is what kinds of definition you have, whether that's one or multiple definitions, as in islands of connections. I want you to notice whether any of those islands contain both the throat center and one of the four motors. The four motors being the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, and the heart center. If one of your islands contains the throat and a motor, then you have a design to do. If you don't have a definition that includes both the throat and a motor, then you have a design to wait. If you have split, triple split, or quadrupled split, you may also have a design or an aspect to wait. So you can be a split definition with a design to do and an aspect to wait, or you can be a split definition to wait if you don't have a definition that includes the throat and the motor. Now, it also might seem like a design to do is better than a design to wait, but again, just like with the definition, this couldn't be further from the truth. Those of us who have a design to wait fully understand the value of doing, because our society conditioned us to just constantly be doing and doing and doing. But it is much harder for people who have a design to do to learn the value of waiting. And can you imagine living in a society where everybody is only ever doing and nobody ever waits or thinks or contemplates or steps back to judge or say, like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this all the time? I don't want to live in that world. We do kind of live in that world a little bit right now, but I also still don't want to live in that world. So to wrap up this video, just want to keep reminding you that you are the expert in yourself. Don't outsource your own authority to anybody besides yourself, whether that's a guru online, whether that's myself, or whether that's somebody in your life physically or online. Understanding your own energy flow is everybody's right. This is a fundamental skill that we're all capable of. It's not something that just belongs to experts. You are capable of understanding this, and it's one of the most important steps in becoming a fully developed and actualized version of yourself. And the last thing that I want to remind you of is that you don't exist in isolation, and nobody ever does. So not only are the planets constantly transiting the sky and activating your body graph in unique ways, but you also interact with people on a daily basis, and those people have their own charts and their own definitions and their own lack of definition, and you condition them just as much as they condition you. So becoming aware of your body graph and then learning the body graphs of those people that you're closest to is a really great step to becoming more empowered in your relationships and more aware of the effect that you have on other people and that other people have on you. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you can hit the subscribe button, click the bell to be notified, drop a like, and don't forget to comment and let me know what your definition is, whether you have split, triple split, and if you have a design to do or a design to wait. And stay tuned for the next video, because we're going to start diving into the centers and talking about the ways that we're conditioned by the world and where we condition the world. You also might be interested in this video that I posted a while ago about the 5 things that I wish I knew when I first started studying human design. And also, please check out the links in the description for ways that you can support me in my work. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.